Taxes. Hairs to be approximately the same length as... My name's Damon, and I have a small one-man company called Black Warrior Lures. It's named after the Black Warrior River, on which I design these fishing methods and everything. Despite my best efforts to target local customers, very few people in my local area, region, and state buy from me. If I had a traditional physical retail space, I would have gone out of business a long time ago. The internet has provided a window to the rest of the world for what I do. I make, import, and sell fishing tackle. I can't tell you the number of times I've gone to the tax office, various tax offices, and asked for how am I supposed to collect taxes, and no one can give me a straight answer because, one, there's not been any precedent set on the issue of internet sales, and two, there's no law on it. The laws that we have really have been antiquated for the modern email, e-market, internet market space. Fortunately, the Supreme Court made a ruling in the case of, Wayfair versus, or South Dakota versus Wayfair, that states have the right to impose internet taxes or collect internet taxes. And I think we need to go back a bit. Taxes are always due when you make a sale, folks. If that business did not collect tax for their state because it was out of state, across state lines, the onus is on me, the buyer, to remit those sales taxes on my annual sales tax return every year. Nobody's doing that. I do it. I know people who do it, but almost no one knows to do it. And if they know to do it, they just lie on their sales tax returns anyway. I'm a man of faith, and I believe you render unto God what's unto God, and you render unto Caesar what's unto Caesar. In other words, you pay your taxes. I was just so happy when Kay Ivey, governor of Alabama, announced that the old Red Tail, you remember the movie Red Tails? That fighter squadron is still in operation in Alabama to this day. And they're getting the new F-35 Joint Strike, or F-35 Lightning II fighter. That's going to cost taxes. It's an expensive fighter. I believe we need it. I like having well-trained and well-equipped law enforcement. I like having well-trained and well-equipped firefighters. I like having well-maintained streets and roads. I like having more sidewalks, more stop signs, more traffic lights, more street lamps. Those things are public services. I like having clean water. Quite frankly, I like having clean air. Those things only come about through the paying of taxes. The state of Alabama has a very low cost of living. That's partly because we just have a low property tax, and we have to make up for it in sales tax. Well, if everybody's buying stuff on their phones or on their computers, and it's all coming from out of state, once things crosses state line, things get really hairy. It's just not so simple to know who's responsible for the taxes. Legally, the buyers are responsible if it's across state lines, but if no one's remitting those taxes properly, something has to be done. And I think the Supreme Court just made a wise decision, I believe. But there are a few concerns I have. The thing is, the previous ruling, it had to do with the nexus. In other words, if I am maintaining a warehouse of products in, say, Memphis, Tennessee, and I'm here in Alabama, then I would have to remit taxes every month to Tennessee. I have to pay sales taxes every month, folks. Every month. So all you complaining about having to file taxes every year, you got nothing. I have to do it every month and every quarter for excise taxes because I'm paying tax. Excise tax is a very old tax that taxes hunting, fishing, bows, arrows, fishing engines, fishing rods, fishing reels, tackle boxes, those sorts of things. Fine, I don't mind it, but I have to do that every quarter. And so, and it's automatically included in the price, so you don't really ever see the tax. And every time you buy fishing tackle from like Walmart, it's already included in the price, so you don't actually see it. I don't understand why we can't do something similar. Since I have to file taxes every month, a lot of times, because all my sales are out of state, I'm not required to collect taxes of those. And the only time I'm authorized to collect taxes is when the sales happens in the state of Alabama or in the city, or you know, because I don't have customers coming into my house, I mail everything out. Everything's mailed out to them and delivered. I'm required to remit sales taxes every month to the state. Fine, I'm happy to do that. The Supreme Court, the way they dealt with this was to remove the nexus part of the law that says where you have a physical presence, whether it be product housed in a warehouse, you have a store, or you have a salesman who lives in that area, whatever. The problem is I only operate from my house, my spare bedroom and my computer in my house. My real concern is that every state in the union is going to be grabbing, right? They're going to want their taxes on whatever sales that you made into their state. The problem is, essentially, you're talking I would have to file 50 tax returns every state, every year, every month. I make and sell and import fishing tackle, not file taxes for a living. I'm not an accountant. I'm not a bookkeeper. So that's the danger that I see if it goes this way. And I think that's the wrong way to go about it. Now, I read in this report that the state of Alabama, I had no idea, no one ever informed me about this, is the Simplified Seller's Use Tax Program, which is great, right? Alabama had attempted to, fair use, Alabama had attempted to combat this practice online retailers by implementing the Simplified Seller's Use Tax Program. Let's see, statewide 8% tax on all items delivered into Alabama. Well, I'm delivering out to other states, not by choice, just the way business works. The only way I have to advertise my business is Twitter and YouTube, and almost none of those people are in Alabama. If I literally filed one tax return a day for 30 days, I'd still have something like 20 tax returns left over the next month. It's too much for a one-man business. I hope that Congress, the president, the governor, the mayor, the city council, the legislative bodies on varying levels can come up with something simple, especially for the small one-man companies who are just essentially like operating like merchants. Now, I understand the issue with big companies like Newegg and Wayfair and Amazon and eBay and Etsy, where they're collecting hundreds of thousands, if not millions and tens of millions of dollars in revenue. Well, companies like Amazon are already remitting taxes because they already have warehouses set up in varying places of the company. They essentially have their own shipping company now. eBay, well, it's more complicated because it's like a flea market. It's an online flea market, let's face it. I sell on eBay, I sell on Amazon, I sell on my own website. So while I want to remit the taxes, I just hope, I don't want to be caught between a lion and a tiger and I'm the only meat in sight, right? That's either make the internet tax part of the excise tax and those dollars are remitted to the IRS every month and the IRS figures out where it's supposed to go, or Congress passes a law that says each state, each business should be remit all internet sales tax revenue to their own state, and they just legally redefine what it means to make a sale. I import things from China to incorporate in some of the products that I sell. I have sold something, I remember a guy bought from me from Singapore once. A guy from Germany bought from me once. And somehow the customs was very easy. I just had to declare what the value was and the customs took care of all that, and they got the product they wanted and they were happy. It's actually easier for me to sell to foreign places than it is for me to my own countrymen. That's not so great, right? Let's say they expanded the simplified seller's use tax. Well, why not make that tax just applicable to the local sellers in state? Just 8% flat tax, and that money, a portion of that money will go to the state. Let's say it's 8%. A portion of that 8% is going to go to the state. A portion of that 8% is going to go to the police jurisdiction, the county, as they would say, and a portion of that money will go to the city of where your business physically is. That way that money stays locally and not having to worry about crossing state lines and all that. That would do one thing, it would encourage states to sponsor more local businesses. People who are running businesses off their kitchen tables and spare bedrooms, basements, attics, things like that. And a lot of businesses have been started like that. Hewlett-Packard, started in a garage or something? Well, we just collect a simplified internet tax or a simplified state internet use tax. Actually put that wording in, internet use tax. So this is a sale that happened on the internet, and completely disregard the physical location of the place, whether it's over there or over here. And you remit those taxes to your local jurisdiction, your local state, your state, and let the state further disseminate those taxes. The pieces are already in place in Alabama with the one-stop tax thing, and now with this simplified thing, the pieces are already in place. I just pray and hope that the legislature, the mayor, the city council, the governor, the Congress, the president would come up with something that would protect small, micro, nano enterprises. The last thing we need is for the big companies to take over. I love this country. I love the State of the Union. And I take great joy in paying tithes in church, giving. But I also want to take joy in paying taxes to the state, because I know that's going to benefit the greater good. And that comes from my convictions as a man of God. Okay. And, well, that's all I have to say about that.